Dr. Dan Yachter, the chiropractor, coming to you a little later than normal, but it's good to be with everybody here. We're broadcasting inside of our private group, My Family, My Mission. Happy Wednesday, and many of you guys will be watching in the group, and later on we'll be broadcasting this out into the virtual world, into social media, different places. You'll be seeing this pop up. But we had a phenomenal masterclass all about cancer prevention last night. And the biggest comment that I got today as I got back into the clinical trenches and I was adjusting patients, caring for patients throughout the morning is, of course, asking the question, the traditional question I ask after each masterclass: what was your biggest takeaway? What did you learn? What are you going to integrate? What was the biggest takeaway from last night? And it was great. We had a full house here, a lot of patients eager, hungry to learn and grow and get equipped with knowledge that's going to help them steward their health journey in a much more powerful way. And the answer that I got in regards to the biggest takeaway was we have so much more control over our health than we realize. Not only just over cancer, but really every aspect and dimension of our health. And we know, and what I opened up with last night with was the New England Journal of Medicine, going back to 1997, said the most promising approach to the control of cancer is a national commitment to prevention. And we talked about the fact that basically all organizations have come out and said there's a consensus amongst the National Cancer Institute, the World Health Organization, the International Agency for Research on Cancer research out of UK, all of the cancer, you could call them governing boards around the world, have said on record that virtually all cancer is lifestyle-induced. A very thin slice, a sliver of cancer can be hinged upon the genetic propensities that we have, or the genes that we've been given. 95, 97, 98% lifestyle-induced epigenetics, which means above and beyond what your genes cause. For example, we know that there are oncogenes, cancer genes, that cause a cell to go rogue. It becomes a renegade cell. When the oncogenes turn on, that causes the beginning of that cell turning into a cancer cell, an immortal cell, and it causes a lot of other things to happen where apoptosis is turned off. Apoptosis is what's called programmed cell death. Programmed cell death basically is a way that normal cells, when they feel that they are a threat to the entire body, they kill themselves. They get rid of themselves out of the body. Apoptosis is turned off in cells that have oncogenes that are turned on. So oncogenes are the cancer-producing genes. Lifestyle could actually turn these genes on. It could turn them off. So we know that, again, heredity or genes explains a very small slice of the cancer picture. Genetically or lifestyle-induced or epigenetically, it's the way we live, our lifestyle choices. So we talked about cancer cells. In other words, they're mutated cells. They're not supposed to be in the body. The problem it happens because the cancer cells, they don't die as they should. Instead, these mutated cells multiply in the body. We all have cancer cells in our body. On any given day, we grow thousands of cancer cells in our bodies. But at the end of the day, if the nervous system and the immune system are working properly, there's a net negative gain. If those systems are off balance and not functioning properly, then there's a net positive gain, and they accumulate. There's a cumulative effect as the years go on in regards to the cancer cells. But again, it is what we talked about, the 3 T's: trauma, thoughts, toxins. Those 3 burden stressors are the things that turn on the bad genes, turn off the good genes. Genetics load the gun, but lifestyle fires it. Or maybe not. Lifestyle puts the safety on. So we talked about the 3 T's last night. It was so much fun teaching with you guys, learning and growing with those who showed up. I had such a blast because everybody there was hungry to learn, eager to grow in their understanding of what cancer is and how much control we can take over this very scary word, cancer. Cancer is a dis-ease of accumulation. We do, but very rarely see cancer in very young people because it's primarily a disease of accumulation. As we age, our bodies become more inflamed. I showed the fishbowl analogy, how the fishbowl, the water becomes more murky. The more chronic the inflammation, smog, toxicity, burden, the greater the risk of cancer. Talked about the drugs, primarily that are murking up the fishbowl. The fish representing the cell, the water inside of the fishbowl representing the cellular environment. And so we talked about the fact that, again, there are things that trigger cancer accumulation. If it can be triggered, it can be untriggered. But if you want the body and the cells to be well, you have to fix the cell. You have to fix the environment. Cancer is an ecosystem. Change the environment in which the fish or cell or cancer is trying to live. Cancer requires a certain environment or ecosystem to grow and develop. And if you take that environment away, it can't grow or proliferate, or you pretty much stop it in its tracks. So again, we learned that cancer is an ecosystem. The best way to alter it is to change the entire environment rather than targeting an isolated gene. The answer always is epigenetics, lifestyle, and keeping the body well. We talked about all those lifestyle strategies last night. We talked about the things that inflame the body, create burden, smog. Cells that, when cells are inflamed and congested from too much processed food, sugar, cooking oils, deep fried oils are a bad one, medications, sugar, vaccinations, environmental toxins, negative emotions, subluxation. We talked about all these things, what they do to the cells. And if you were here, you saw the images of those in the slides. We talked about medical testing. We got into mammograms. We got into some of the science, really a different perspective. We talked about drug trials, why your oncologist may or may not recommend a drug trial. Some really important information last night. Talked about the 10 ways to become a cancer killer. Went through them. 10 ways. If you're here last night, you know what those top 10 ways are. Talked about the spine and the nervous system, how the spine and nervous system drives all function into all immune glands. Why chiropractic care isn't a cure. It is not a cure for cancer, but it helps keep the body functioning at its best. And if it is functioning at its best, then your immune system will be able to function at its best. Your white blood cells will function at their best, and your body will be able to do its best job at staving off the accumulation of cancer cells. Talk about stinking thinking, how your thoughts directly impact immune function, how your thoughts will impact your body's ability to stave off cancer accumulation. Forgiveness, we talked about. Wow, how unforgiveness, how negative thinking, how your cells eavesdrop on your thoughts, and whether they're negative or positive can have a dramatic impact on the overall global health and well-being of your body. Talked about the foods you want to stay away from. We got into label reading. We got into a lot of different aspects of nutrition. The importance of the right kind of fats to make up the cell lining, the membrane lining, and how to measure that on blood work. Make sure that your fat membranes, your cellular membranes, are constructed out of the right fats so cellular toxicity can get out of the cell and nutrition can flow easily into the cell. Very important. We talked about vitamin D. Very profound information about vitamin D. That this one study, 4,000 women over the age of 55, if they had their blood levels of vitamin D3 over 60, there was 1/5 the risk of breast cancer, over an 80% reduction in breast cancer. We talked about the supplements that are most important for protecting or nourishing the immune system. We talked about the lymphatic system, how to move toxicity out of the body, through the body, out of the body. How do you get toxicity out? How do you get the smog, and how do you keep the cellular environment clean, the ecosystem clean? How do you do that? We went through those steps last night. Talked about the importance of the gut. The gut is where over 80% of all of the body's immune tissue is located, from mouth to anus. The number one cancer killer is colorectal cancer, colon cancer. So it's critical to keep the gut healthy. One of the ways we talked about last night is keeping your fiber high. A minimum of 30 grams per day, 50 to 100 better. Getting that from veggies and fruits and grains and nuts and seeds can certainly help. And then we talked about the blood markers. The markers that you want, the immune panel that we put together, giving you specific markers that are early warning signs or harbingers of the fact that your immune system may not be doing the job that it needs to do to stave off the cumulative cancer effect, cancer cells accumulating in your body. If you were there last night, of course, you know when you show up, we give you all kinds of bonuses and gifts and things of that nature. And last night, we gave you out a guide, a special guide that we created based on the information from last month's masterclass on hormone balance, hormonal information. So all around, it was a great masterclass. Next month, May 20th, Tuesday night, 6:30, anti-aging, slowing your aging process down. I've been teaching this for over 30 years, this masterclass. It's a phenomenal masterclass, slowing your aging process down. Come out, join us, keep learning, keep growing with us. It's going to be an awesome one. And a big, big thank you to all who made it last night, who put the time, the energy, made the arrangements to get here. And I can tell you, everybody who was here last night was so thankful that they came. We had a lot of new attendees, a lot of new faces, a lot of new patients who just started care in the office who showed up. And it's just a lot of fun watching and seeing patients show up just hungry to learn, hungry to grow. And as far as I know, we're the only office in the area that does this month in and month out, year over year, giving this knowledge and providing our patients everything they need to achieve their best health. This is primary. This is foundational, keeping the spine and nervous system running at its best. But you know what? As I always say, there's one thing that's more important than the spine. Yes, a chiropractor is telling you this. There's one thing that's important than your spine and the adjustments weekly, bi-weekly, monthly. There's one thing that's more important than the spine, and it's the mind. If you're not changing your mindset of not what you think, but how you think through a principled lens, if you're not changing the way you're seeing the world, your health, then you're not going to go very far, even with regular adjustments. You need to have a change in mindset, mind frame. How are you seeing the world? What is your lens? That's what the master classes are for, not to bombard you with information or teach you what to think, but more importantly, how to think about your body, your health, short and long-term health in general. So thank you for continuing to come out. We had a great time. We had a blast last night. And again, mark your calendars. Anti-aging masterclass coming up on the 20th of May. It'll be here before we know it. We'll be almost halfway through the year. So everybody have a great Wednesday, and we'll be with you next week. Dr. Dan Yachter signing off for my family, my mission. God bless.